If all goes to plan, this could be possibly the biggest episode of NCW that we have ever had. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NCW Night of Fury. Brother Love is standing center stage, basking in the spotlight, dressed in his signature white suit with a glowing red face. The crowd is already booing him as he raises the microphone with his ever-present, unsettling grin. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of love, can you feel it? Can you feel the excitement in the air tonight? Oh yes, tonight is a night of unforgettable battles, a night where the heat will rise, where feuds will reach their boiling point, and where men will push themselves to their limits and beyond. You're in for a show like no other, because tonight, the action will be hotter than ever before." The crowd jeers, but Brother Love doesn't flinch, continuing to pace the ring with fervor. We're going to see two gigantic forces collide in a cage that's not just made of steel, but of pride, of will, and of determination. Brickhouse, that fireball of speed and agility, takes on the immovable object of the juggernaut known as Tugboat, in a match that will test them both like never before. He pauses for dramatic effect, his eyes scanning the crowd. But that's not all. Brothers and sisters, oh no, no, no. Next, you're going to witness a war. The Rockers, those lovable rebels of high-flying madness, go head-to-head with the relentless, vicious Breed. It's an ODQ, so you can bet your bottom dollar that these two teams are going to leave everything they have in that ring, and the stakes couldn't be higher. It's a battle of heart, of willpower, of fighting for glory, and when it's all said and done, there will only be one team standing tall. Brother Love paces again, his face full of intensity, and then, then we got Cowabunga. Yes, you heard me right, Cowabunga. That teenage dynamo taking on Hercules, the power of brute strength and dominance in a cage match that promises to bring both pain and thrills. These two are going to tear each other apart, and I guarantee you will be on the edge of your seats the whole time, wondering just how much they can take. He raises his hands to silence the crowd, savoring the anticipation. But wait, there's more. Al Snow, the man with the heart, the drive, the hunger, steps into the ring with the one and only Scott Hall. This is just a match, folks. This isn't just a match, folks. Oh no, this is a battle for respect. The so-called veteran Scott Hall will the so-called veteran Scott Hall prove that experience always wins, or will Snow shock the world and take down the living legend himself? The tension, the stakes through the roof. And finally, brothers and sisters, the war we've all been waiting for. Vader, the unstoppable force of destruction, goes to war with the cunning, underhanded Sullivan in a no DQ match. There will be chaos, there will be weapons, and there will be pain like you never have seen before. These two men will stop at nothing to claim victory, and when the dust settles, only one will stand victorious. Brother Love lowers his voice to a near whisper, his eyes narrowing. So my friends, tonight isn't just any night. This is the kind of night that makes history, a night where men will push themselves beyond the limits of human endurance, and at the end of it all, you will be left begging for more. Tonight you witness legends born, feuds settled, and battles that echoes through time. He smiles, arms wide, soaking in the booze, because this is the night of love, the night of pain, and the night where all will be reveled. So let the battles begin. He drops the mic with a thud, stepping out of the ring as the crowd erupts in a mix of boos and cheers. Our first match of the night is Brickhouse Brown versus the Tugboat in a steel cage match. It is a dramatic culmination of their feud. Brickhouse Brown tries to use his speed and guile to escape the cage, but Tugboat repeatedly drags him back. The match features several high-risk moments, including Brickhouse leaping off the top rope and Tugboat slamming him into the steel. In the end, Tugboat crashes Brickhouse with a second rope Tugboat splash before walking out the cage door to claim victory. So there we have it. Tugboat defeats Brickhouse Brown in a steel cage match. The finishers and stuff aren't going to be always up to date. So this one's going to be says here that tidal wave, but I put down the Tugboat splash. I'm not very up to date with this stuff. So but anyways, crowd heat's still simmering even after the last one. Wrestling reign is 22, crowd reign is 18. Segment reign is 22. This has not been a good feud. I've liked writing it, but obviously these two performers have not been working too well together, so a little bit behind the curtain here. This is the last that you're going to see of these two in this feud, but it's been a fun experience, but obviously it did not perform super well. Anyways, our next match is a no DQ between the Rockers and the Breed. The no DQ match is a wild, brutal affair with chairs, tables, and high-risk spots. The Rockers show their resilience, refusing to stay down despite the Breed's relentless assault. In the climax, Michaels hits a diving crossbody off a ladder onto Diamond, while Jannetty superkicks Kanitsky through a table. The Rockers finally secure the victory with their patented Rocker Dropper on Diamond. And then in the post-match, the Rockers celebrate with their fans, but the Breed, Battle and Furious, vow revenge. Yeah, so this is a pretty good one, and I don't think they do in the game the team finishers. So basically, what this game says is not always going to be what actually happened. Like this, the Switch in Music, the finisher, I can't really plan that ahead. So just to let you guys know. But anyways, this match was chaotic and full of action. The Rockers win the NCW Tag Team titles after the Breed only had them for one day. So our inaugural NCW champions have lost their titles after one day. Looks like Paul Diamond was the weakest link here with a 24 performance. Nick had a 34. Sean obviously was the best with a 45, and then Marty Jannetty was with a 38. Yeah, so two crazy matches in quick succession didn't really work. They needed staggering so the crowd can catch their breath. So yeah, booking these right back to back was not the best idea. Also, a feeling that I have for this show might be that this may not go as well as I thought. Obviously, we're not off to a great start, but it's very gimmicky, this show, because it's kind of like, a bunch of grudge matches. So kind of what I'm learning here is we need to experiment more with that. And I guess this was definitely our experiment with some of these matches. Like the first one was a cage match. This is like a no DQ street fight type of deal, and the crowds weren't really big on them. Let me 16. So, but anyways, we're going to keep moving on here in our match between Cowabunga and Hercules Hernandez. In a thrilling and brutal steel cage match, Hercules uses his power to dominate Cowabunga early on, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle knockoff won't be denied. The two exchange blows, with Cowabunga using his agility to launch off the cage and perform high-flying moves. After a dangerous top rope move, Hercules catches Cowabunga midair and finishes him off with a spine-crushing slam, followed by a huge pin to win the match. Hercules wins this match, which is a very sad conclusion to that match. But Cowabunga, he stood out. I think Cowabunga has been standing out as a performer in this company, and I will be happy to use him in the future. He didn't come off with the win this time, but he's definitely been impressing. Hercules had a 43, and Cowabunga had a 33. The mount dragged in the middle, probably a little long. I think it's part because of the gimmick. So that's gonna be that. I'm gonna change some things around the main event. I'm gonna change it because it's the Vader and Sullivan match. I think I'm gonna make it a normal match. I don't think we needed to be a no DQ match, and obviously I have a lot riding on that match, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that. That's not gonna matter for right now. Let's go ahead into our next match. Leading up to Scott Hall's match with Al Snow, Scott Hall stands in the middle of the ring, microphone in hand, radiating his arrogance. His chiseled frame and slicked back hair shine under the arena lights. The crowd boos loudly, but Hall smirks, brushing it off as he leans casually on the ropes. He says, "You people just don't get it, do you? I mean, take a good long look at me. I'm 6'2", 270 pounds of pure wrestling perfection, and in this business, my business, you're looking at greatness personified." The crowd boos louder as Hall struts around the ring, mockingly flexing his muscles. "See, I've been doing this for a long time, longer than most of you people have been able to spell your own names. At just 26 years old, I've already done more in this business than half the so-called legends you people worship. That's right, Scott Hall is already a name that belongs in the history books. They'll be talking about me for years to come, and you're lucky enough to see it live and in living color. Now, tonight, I step into the ring with some kid named Al Snow." Al Snow sounds like some geek they dragged out of the crowd. I mean, I've been breaking necks and cashing checks while this guy's been, practicing wrist locks in some high school gym? Probably. Tonight in a match, it's a wrestling clinic. Top of the best in the game, me. The boos reach a fever pitch, but Hall keeps his cool, wagging a finger at the audience. "Al, I hope you're back there listening real close, kid, because I'm about to give you the lesson of a lifetime. This ain't some backyard wrestling show you're used to, probably. This is the big leagues. This is where men fight, and when you step into this ring with the bad guy, you're not just gonna be the hero of your little story. No. You're gonna be another chapter in the story of Scott Hall's rise to legendary status. He leans on the ropes, smirking as he points toward the entrance ramp. So bring your little rookie moves, bring your nervous energy, bring everything you got, Al Snow, because when it's all said and done, you're gonna be laying on your back, staring up at the lights, wondering what the hell just happened, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll realize you never stood a chance. Hall steps to the center of the ring, spreading his arms wide as the crowd jeers even louder, because I'm Scott Hall, baby, the future, the present, and the past of this business, and tonight, I prove to the world once again why nobody does it better than me. He tosses the mic aside with a smirk, flexing one more time before retreating to his corner to await the match. Alright, so a lot of arrogance here from Scott Hall to start off this match. He's actually got the crowd hot, and he's had a segment rating of 56, so definitely Scott Hall is helping things a lot here. But with that being said, Snow enters, clearly nervous but determined to prove himself, oozing, Scott Hall is oozing his confidence and mocking Snow's nervous energy. The match begins with Hall showcasing his experience, grounding Snow with technical holds, and mocking him throughout the opening minutes. Snow, however, surprises everybody by using his agility and counter wrestling to keep Hall on his toes. Snow hitting several high impact moves, including a leaping dropkick and a running bulldog, showing he's not just a rookie. The turning point comes when Hall attempts his razor edge, but Snow counters with a Hurricane Rana for a near fall. The crowd erupts as Snow begins to gain momentum. After a hard fought back and forth, Snow catches Hall with a super kick, followed by a signature snowplow, stunning the veteran for the 3 count. The so-called veteran. Very technical match here for the two, and it did pretty good. It kept the crowd hot, got a wrestling rating of 32, crowd rating of 16, segment rating of 28. Al Snow had an in-ring performance of 28, where Scott Hall had a performance of 36. So both pretty good, pretty happy with that. And we got Al Snow winning, which was very, very unexpected. The crowd's roaring with a mix of shock and boos as Hall, seething with rage, stalks Snow, who lies on the mat clutching his ribs after narrowing, etching out a win. Hall's face twists with fury as he yanks Snow to his feet, shoving the referee aside. Without warning, Hall levels Snow with a thunderous clothesline that echoes through the arena. The crowd gasps as Snow crumples to the mat, lifeless, but Hall isn't done. With a venomous sneer, he hauls Snow up, hooks his arms, and plants him with a devastating razor's edge. The boos crescendo as Hall grabs a mic, stepping over Snow's lifeless body. He glares out at the jeering fans, his voice dripping with disdain. Then he says, "You might have won this one, kid, but you'll never be me again." He drops the mic with a thud, standing over his fallen opponent. The camera zooms in on Hall's scowl as he raises his arms, the crowd's hatred feeling his aura of dominance. The screen fades to a black as medical rush to the ring. So I decided to make this not a normal match. I kept it a no DQ match. So anyways, with that being said, the no DQ match is a chaotic spectacle. Sullivan employs every underhanded tactic in the book, using weapons like chairs and chains, and even Cornette's tennis racket, which he uses to knock Cornette out cold. Despite Sullivan's unorthodox offense, clever strategies, and even keeping Jim Cornette out of this match, Vader's raw strength is unstoppable. The match ends in dramatic fashion as Vader powerbombs Sullivan onto a pile of chairs for his definite victory. So Sullivan just can't keep Vader down. Vader is too powerful, and this seems pretty one-sided at this point, with Vader pretty much always standing tall against Sullivan and pretty much everybody here. Crowd was very hot at the end. Wrestling rating was 39, crowd rating was 27, and then the segment rating was 40. So it's pretty good segments. So the show did not gain popularity, but we didn't lose any. We had an overall rating of 41. I'm pretty happy. I think this could have been a lot worse. Let's go ahead and compliment Kevin Sullivan. Let's compliment Scott Hall. I know Vader won, but Vader's fine. The other two, I think, need some help here. We're losing money at a rapid pace. I went ahead and upped the ticket prices, I mean. So we lost some money, but not as much as we have been. We're down $11,000, but I wish we could make some more money eventually. That's not looking good here, but I'm going to look. That was actually our best show. I was worried, but I think I'm just not used to I haven't played it in a while, so I think I'm not used to how the matches have been. So, and plus, it really helps with that Scott Hall segment and then the main event. So, like, let's see this show here. Scott Hall, you know, he helped in that area too. So, basically, we just gotta keep Scott Hall going here. That's gotta be the plan. I definitely have plans for Scott Hall in the future. I don't know how long we're gonna have him because he is doing really well, and we're probably... Welcome to New Crown Wrestling number 7. The show tonight starts with Nick Kinetsky and Paul Diamond, the Breed, standing in the ring, their expressions cold and determined. The crowd boos loudly as they hold the microphones. Nick Kinetsky says, "For months, this war between us and the Rockers has raged on, match after match, fight after fight, and still no definitive winner. But we're not here to play games. We're here to settle this once and for all." Then Paul Diamond says, "We demand one final match, one battle to end this feud. At Clash of the Champions, it's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match. No excuses, no flukes, and no way out. Just 2 teams proving who is truly the best." The crowd erupts as the Rockers' music hits, and Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty storm down to the ring, both fired up, holding microphones. Shawn Michaels says, "You want one last match, huh? Well, you're on. We've taken everything you've thrown at us, and we're still standing. If this is what it takes to shut you two up, then bring it on." Marty Jannetty says, "A 2 out of 3 falls match? Perfect. Because when the bell rings, we're not going to just beat you. We're going to embarrass you at Clash of the Champions. Everyone will see why the Rockers are the superior team." Shawn Michaels says, "Kinetsky, Diamond, you're good, but you're not the Rockers good. And at Clash of the Champions, we'll prove it once and for all." The crowd roars as the 2 teams face off in the middle of the ring, the tension at an all-time boiling point. Nick Kinetsky is smirking. He says, "Big words, Michaels, but when the dust settles, the only thing the fans will remember is the Breed standing tall. See you at Clash of the Champions." Paul Diamond's leading forward and he says, "And after that, you'll never forget who ended your legacy." The Breed throws their microphones to the ground and walks away, leaving the Rockers fired up and the crowd buzzing with anticipation. Overall, pretty good segment here. Segment rating of 33. Crowd heat is hot and rising from the jump, so I'm pretty happy with that. Go ahead and continue. After that, we have a match here between Rick Gibson defeating Charlie Fulton with a rocker dropper. Wrestling rating of 37, crowd of 13, segment rating of 41. A great match between these two. Charlie Fulton had a performance of 45. Charlie Fulton is continuing to impress. Should have made him win the match, but that's okay. Yes, a great performance there from Charlie Fulton. Looks like Rick Gibson was actually off his game, so that's not really that's not fun to see. The match got the crowd hotter though. We're at a white hot crowd heat, and then Rick Gibson is getting better at his gimmick. So we have a match here between Dennis Condrey and Cowabunga. Cowabunga starts the match strong, using his agility and high energy offense to keep Condrey off his balance. He connects with quick strikes and aerial maneuvers, dazzling the crowd. However, Condrey, the veteran, shifts movement by catching Cowabunga mid-air with a knee to the gut. From there, Condrey slows the pace, grounding Cowabunga with methodical holds and strikes. Despite a spirited comeback from Cowabunga, highlighted by a near fall off a crossbody, Condrey capitalized on a missed top rope splash. He finishes the match with a swinging net breaker. Dennis Condrey defeats Cowabunga by submission in 15 minutes and 28 seconds. Obviously, Dennis Condrey was obviously the better performer of this match with a 60 rating, and then Cowabunga getting 36. Obviously, Cowabunga going up against a veteran, trying to get a little bit of a rub here, which pretty much did. We're very hot crowd heat, not white hot, but still very hot. Wrestling range 48, crowd rating of 28, segment rating of 56. Crowd heat, white hot might actually be not as good as very hot. I have to look into that. I'm not entirely sure, because it seems like the crowd's better, the crowd rating's better, so, but I'm not sure. But I'm not sure if I read this off or not, but Dennis Condrey is getting better at his gimmick. After that match, Bobby Eaton is standing confidently beside Dennis Condrey, and the crowd's booing loudly as Dennis Condrey raises the microphone, a smug grin plastered on his face. He says, "Look at this place. We've got one of the best wrestlers in the world right here, and beautiful Bobby Eaton, and yet he has to share the ring with what? A cartoon character?" The crowd erupts, booing even louder as Eaton takes his turn smirking. "That's right," he says, his southern drawl dripping with mockery. "Cowabunga isn't just a joke, he's the joke. A grown man in a turtle suit? Come on, this ain't Saturday morning TV." Condrey feigns confusion, scratching his head. "You gotta wonder, folks, how does a guy like that even make it into wrestling, right? What's next? A mascot battle royale?" Before they can say more, Cowabunga's entrance music blares through the arena, and the crowd crowd erupts in cheers. Sprinting down the aisle, Cowabunga bursts into the ring with his signature high-energy charisma, microphone in hand. "You've got a lot of nerve running your mouth like that," Cowabunga fires back, pacing around the ring. "You think I'm just a joke? I'll show you what this cartoon can do." The fans roar in approval as Cowabunga turns to Ian, pointing directly at him. "You and me, one-on-one. Let's see if beautiful Bobby Ian is as tough as he talks." Country smirks, stepping forward with his trademark slyness. "Oh, you want Bobby? Fine, he'll face you, because this, my little turtle friend, is easy money." Ian nods in agreement, smirking confidently as Cowabunga hypes up the crowd, trying to prove that he's no joke. The stage is set for a clash of styles, with the charismatic Cowabunga looking to silence the doubters and Bobby Ian determined to make an example out of him. That sets the stage for their upcoming match at Clash of the Champions. This was pretty good. Cowabunga did not have the microphone skills, but overall, this did pretty well. I think having Bobby Ian and Dennis Condrey definitely helped. But this got a 7 rating of 43, and Dennis Condrey is still getting better. His gimmick, Dennis Condrey is doing pretty good. Very impressed with his performances. Okay, in this one, we have, well, this wasn't good. Tugboat defeats Jason Knight in 9:37. Pinfall, the corner body splash. It was a storytelling match. Looks like they don't click at all, and they're not very good performers either, with Tugboat having a 20 performance. Jason Knight having a 15. I'm kind of moving on from Tugboat anyways after his last feud, and this is kind of more of a reason why. But it is what it is. Let's continue. Hercules Hernandez stands in the center of the ring, gripping the microphone with both hands, his face etched with determination. The crowd buzzes with anticipation as he begins to speak. He says, "At Night of Fury, I hit rock bottom," his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I suffered a loss that left me humiliated, questioning everything I fought for. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. Hercules Hernandez doesn't stay down." The audience cheers, rallying behind the warrior as he continues. "I'm here to work harder, to train longer, improve myself as a true competitor in New Crown Wrestling. This isn't the end of my story. This is the beginning of my redemption." Before the fans can fully embrace Hercules' vow, the familiar sound of laughter echoes throughout the arena. Lanny Poffo struts onto the stage, microphone in hand, smirking as he soaks in the boos from the crowd. "Redemption, Hercules? The only thing you need to redeem is your career, because it's a joke." Poffo sneers. "You don't belong in the ring with true wrestlers like me. You're nothing more than a strong man who got lucky once and has been coasting ever since." The crowd erupts with jeers as Hercules glares at Poffo, the tension between the two thickening with every word. Poffo steps closer to the ring, his grin widening. "Face it, Hercules, your time is up. Go back to the gym, because the ring is no place for someone who can't cut it." Hercules raises the microphone, his voice booming over the boos. "Lanny, you talk a big game, but I don't see you stepping into this ring." Where Lanny uses underhanded tactics throughout the match, targeting Hercules' arm to neutralize his strength. However, Hercules fights back with his raw power. Lanny cheats by raking the eyes and rolling him up with a handful of tights for the win. And resistance, just like Hercules builds momentum, Lanny Poffo defeats Hercules Hernandez via pinfall with a dirty finish. So Lanny got a 59, Hercules did a 50, both pretty good, especially for the standards of company at the moment. So there's a wrestling rating of 54, crowd rating of 19, and a segment rating of 60. Obviously, Hercules Hernandez is not looking good at the moment in terms of being able to get some wins. After that, the show was in full swing with the crowd buzzing as Scott Hall's music hits. The arena erupts in boos as Hall struts out onto the stage. Microphone in hand, he pauses to soak in the reaction, smirking arrogantly before speaking. "You know, I've been thinking about Night of Fury, about how Al Snow somehow managed to pull off a win against me, and the conclusion I've come to is simple. It wasn't skill, it wasn't talent, it was nothing but a lucky shot. The kind of thing that happens once and never again." The crowd jeers as Hall shakes his head dismissively. "And let's be honest, Snow doesn't have what it takes to last in this business. Guys like him, they burn bright for a second and then they're gone. Me? I'm still here, still the star of the show, while he's struggling to keep up." The crowd boos louder, but the reaction shifts to cheers as Al Snow's music hits. Snow storms down the ramp, fire in his eyes, microphone already in hand. He slides into the ring and immediately cuts Hall off. "Hall, enough. Enough of the excuses, enough of the cheap shots, and enough of you. You want to talk about lucky shots? How about we find out how lucky I was, right here, right now?" The crowd The crowd explodes as Snow's challenged, but Hall holds up a hand, shaking his head with a smirk. Whoa, 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 slow down, Snow. You don't call the shots, I do. You want a rematch? Fine, but it's gonna be on my terms. The crowd boos again as Hall steps closer to the ring, his tone turning cold and calculated. Scott Hall says next week at Clash of Champions, it'll be me and you one-on-one. One more time, but let me promise you this, there's no lucky shot coming this time. There's just me walking out this arena as a winner and you crawling out a loser. The crowd erupts with a mix of boos and cheers, but Snow isn't backing down. He stares Hall down from the ring, lifting his microphone again. Clash of Champions, you're on. But let me make one thing clear, Hall. Next week, there's no running, no hiding, and no excuses when I beat you again, because this time, not luck, skill. And I'm going to prove it in front of every single person here. The crowd explodes as Snow tosses his microphone to the mat and motions for Hall to come to the ring. Hall just smirks and backs up the ramp, mouthing next week. As the crowd chants for Snow, the tension is palpable as the two rivals glare at each other. The stage is set for their final showdown. Another match set here for Clash of the Champions. It's going to be a great show from the looks of it. This got a semi-rating of 31. Al Snow's pretty unskilled but Scott Hall I was hoping he was going to do a little bit better here, but did not do that, unfortunately. That's okay. Overall, I think we are off to a good, this show is definitely going very well, so I cannot complain one bit. But after that match, Scott Hall is having a match against Tom Pritchard, where he defeats Tom Pritchard with a 41 performance on his part and 32 from Tom Pritchard. Wrestling rate was 36, crowd of 19, and semi-rating was 40. Crowd heat was very hot at the end of it. And then the crowd is buzzing in anticipation. Kevin Sullivan, visibly battered and showing the effects of his wars with Vader, steps into the ring. The microphone shakes slightly in his hand, but his fiery determination is unmistakable. The audience cheers him on, sensing something big is about to unfold. Kevin Sullivan says, they say every man has its limits. Every man hits a point where he just can't take it anymore. But let me tell you something, I'm not every man. The crowd erupts and cheers as Sullivan paces the ring, his voice growing stronger with each word. Vader, you're a monster, no doubt about it. You left me battered, bruised, and beaten. But I'm still standing, and as long as I can stand, I'll keep fighting, because I've got one last trick up my sleeve to bring you down. The intensity in Sullivan's eyes send a ripple through the crowd as he pauses, locking his gaze on the entrance ramp. At Clash of the Champions, I'm challenging you to a steel cage match. No escape, no interference, just you and me locked inside that cage, and this time, Vader, I'm leaving it all on the line. The crowd roars, but Sullivan isn't done. He steps closer to the ropes, gripping them tightly as he delivers this bombshell. And to prove how serious I am, I'll make this as clear as I can. If I lose, if I can't beat you inside that cage, then I'll retire from professional wrestling. The arena explodes in shock and cheers as Sullivan's declaration hangs in the air. The tension is palpable as Jim Cornette's voice suddenly rings out, interrupting the moment. The crowd immediately switches to loud boos as Cornette, microphone in hand, appears on the stage with a smug grin. Retire? Retire? Oh, Sullivan, you really are a desperate old man, aren't you? But hey, you know what they say, when the opportunity knocks, you open the door. On behalf of Big Van Vader, I accept your challenge. The boos grow louder as Cornette smirks, adjusting his tennis racket on his shoulder. A cage match? Fine. Retirement on the line? Even better. Because come Clash of the Champions, Vader's not just going to beat you, he's going to end you. He's going to make sure that last image these people have of Kevin Sullivan is you, broken and humiliated, crawling out that cage. Enjoy your final week, old man. Cornette cackles as the crowd rains down boos on him. Back in the ring, Sullivan glares at him with fire in his eyes, pointing towards the stage. Cornette, tell your monster this. I'm not going anywhere without the fight of my life. At Clash of the Champions, I'm coming for blood, and I'll prove that you can't kill what won't stay down. The crowd explodes as Sullivan tosses the microphone aside, raising his fist in defiance. Cornette smirks and walks backstage. The stage set for a high-stakes showdown inside the steel cage. Powerful words between Cornette and Sullivan. And obviously, Kevin Sullivan dropping a bombshell here. Basically saying he's going to retire if he does not beat Vader at Clash of the Champions. Putting so much on the line here. It's got a submarine of 49, and everyone seemed to do very well here in this segment. So we're going to go ahead and continue after that to our main event, which doesn't look like a main event. Big Van Vader defeats Carl Styles in 10 minutes and 13 by pinfall with a Vader bomb. Wrestling rating was 28. Crowd rating of 14. Segment rating of 34. Carl Styles out of 15. Vader out of 40. Kind of improperly placed. I wanted Vader to main event, and I wanted the segment that we just had to go on, but I guess, maybe I should have switched them around somehow. But with that being said, we did it. It's alright. The wrestling rating of 28, crowd rating of 14, segment rating of 34. Send him home with the match still. This guy, 835. No storylines were furthered throughout the match. That is not true. Why did that happen? We had no popularity changes. Let's go ahead and I'm trying to remember who had good before. Dennis Condrey for sure. And then let's go ahead and let's give Kevin Sullivan some praise as well. Point is a good example. Point is a good example. Financial report. Hopefully we can start turning around on the money front soon. But let's look here. Why? You know what? Because we have our old stories. But this one should have, and this did, in advance. Yeah, that sucks. But we definitely got to go through and fix these because this storyline's over. But I'll go ahead and do that off camera. But things are coming up. Obviously, it looks looking like Clash of the Champions is technically tonight. Big things are happening, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys at Clash of the Champions.